Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We've got some pretty exciting stuff to talk about today. We had the first tech preview for the new inventory that came out a couple of hours ago for evocati. I was lucky enough to be one of the new evocati testers that CIG invited to be part of that group a couple of weeks ago, so I was able to jump in for a little bit and take a look at everything, try it out, see how it works. So today we're going to be talking about kind of my experience with that, what I've learned so far. I'll use some references of the concepts, the images that we've gotten from CIG before of what the inventory would look like, and a few things to talk about stuff, and might draw out some things and just overall try to describe as best as I can to you, because I can't show you anything, what it was like, how it works, and all that good stuff. But let's go ahead and let's get into it. So we're not going to go over all of the patch notes stuff because the patch notes for this were there's quite a lot to it, kind of in-depth describing the different panels and different things that the new inventory does and some different features. So we're not going to read through that necessarily, but I will point stuff out to you in a couple of minutes when I pull up an image from the concept art that CIG showed, and we'll go through and I'll explain some of that. But just to give some overall first impressions of the inventory, it is a huge improvement over the current inventory that we've had for who knows how long, very long time. Visually, it's just a lot cleaner looking. Performance wise, there are some improvements that they're still going to be making to it to make things load even faster, but it was pretty snappy. All the icons were loading in I would say a second, maybe a little less than a second. So things were loading in quite quick. It was very responsive. There's a lot of new functionality and just improved functionality that was really, really, really nice. Some things have changed as to how you interact with putting the gear on, taking gear off, and that sort of stuff, but we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. But overall, really, really positive so far. I'm very excited to get this in live, as it's quite the improvement. So now I have pulled up here. What you're seeing on the screen is the concept image that CIG showed us, I think in a Star Citizen live. It was a few months ago, sometime last year. This is not from the evocati testing, because I can't show you anything from that. But I will say I might show a comparison image really quick here of what we saw the work in progress of this was during CitizenCon. And I will say the inventory that I saw in evocati is much closer visually in design to this concept art. It's a lot more refined. I guess there's still definitely probably some improvements to be made and some polishing to do, but overall it looks quite a bit like this does here. There's a few things that aren't there, like this weight bar up at the top is not there. I think because maybe they don't have the weight system coming in yet. I don't know when that's going to come in, but a lot of these whole big panel sections over here and over here, those look pretty much the same in evocati. A lot of these little things here that show your armor that's equipped, your legs, arms, all that. You have glasses slot as well. Those are there. I don't think this little clothes slot was there, but maybe that's because I had armor on. Maybe that would appear if you don't have armor on. A few other things. This backpack slot was not there. These attachment slots weren't there, but you did have these different magazine areas and your med pens. So there was a lot of the stuff that's shown here was in that preview. So then we can get into a few other talking about some specific stuff. So I guess we can just go kind of left to right here. So we can start by going over this top left section. So this here, when you open your inventory, defaults to, if you have a backpack on, it will show your backpack space first. And then on these little bars on the side here, you can select between your core armor, or your legs, or whatever you're looking for. You have all these different filters if you're looking for ammo or guns or something that you have in your backpack. The capacity shows there. It will show when you're on this all screen as well. It'll show the total capacity taken up by your armor and your backpack, so everything all combined, which is a nice touch. There is the search option as well. The search option, it functioned pretty much the same as how it does on the freight elevators currently, so it doesn't update live, like as you start typing in letters. Like if you're looking for a Karna rifle, you have to type in Karna, and then you have to press enter for it to search for it, and then they'll pop up. It won't be like you can just start pressing KAR, and as it narrows down the search, it will pop up for you. That would be one possible improvement I'd like to see if it's possible to do that. Sort of more of a minor nitpick, I guess, though. But that's kind of some of the base functionality you get in this top left area here. Next, we can talk about this bottom left section, where this kind of highlights your equipment you have on. It looked basically the same, like I said. Now, there are two different tabs for this. One that's shown here is it will show your weapons that are equipped, so your guns on your backpack, and then if you have a sidearm or a med gun, it will show that on this screen. And then there is a separate tab you can toggle to here for your gadgets, so that would then show your multi-tools or like a knife or anything that you have equipped there. There is the added functionality that it will show, in addition to just what's on your backpack. If you're holding a gun or a utility item in your hands, there will be another box like this just up at the top here that shows what's in your hands. So it makes it pretty easy for you to have a gun in one hand, or in your hands, and then you can have two other guns on your back, which was something that I think we used to have, and then it went away, and so that should be back and be available again. And then likewise, as you see the attachments here, you do see those on your equipped weapons. You can swap them out, take them off, put new ones on, and all that sort of stuff. One thing that I haven't figured out what it means quite yet is this little danger or like caution symbol. That happened on a few items that I found when I went out. I did like a little bit of looting, killed some NPCs, just seeing what looting was like. There's a few items like weapons and I think some ammo maybe that had this little symbol here. I don't entirely know what this means. I don't know if it means it's like if it's meant to be tied into crafting and like the item has low durability or something else. But that was one little thing there that I don't entirely know yet what it means. These little indications here of like what tier the item is or not in, because we don't have the tier system, of course. And the little size 3 thing wasn't there either. One other nice thing was, as you can see on the weapons, they're listed 1, 2, and 3. If you were looting someone or you had ammo in your backpack, if it was something that paired up with your assigned weapon, so say in your 1 slot you have a P4, if you had ammo for that in your backpack, or if it was on something you were looting, which we'll talk about, that would be over on this side, it will have that little number in the bottom right corner. So it's kind of a little bit of a nice way to just quickly recognize that's ammo that's for one of my guns equipped. I can take that because I might need that later. So that's a nice little touch that I appreciate. It just makes it a little bit simpler for if you're just trying to quickly look for some ammo or something. You can identify that fairly quickly with that. Then we can touch again briefly on this middle section here. Again, this upper section with the weight thing just is not there, so we'll just cross that out. But this right-hand section where it shows your armor is there. Now, the way that you put armor on and take it off has changed. You no longer like grab the armor, like the piece itself that's on your character's body. Instead, you would grab it from this little area here, this little icon here, and then you could drag it into your backpack or wherever you were putting it, your local inventory. So that has changed. You don't really interact with like grabbing items off of your belt like this, or like grabbing the magazines off or anything like that. It's much more using these different icons to interact with those things. So that's a little bit simpler, a little bit easier, instead of having to like mess around with trying to get a magazine that's like under your character's arm or something. So that's a very, very nice touch that'll make it quicker for unequipping and equipping new stuff, just switching out your gear for what you need. There are a few things that aren't there that I think are meant hopefully will originally, be there eventually. I think on these icons, for example, when you see the little green circle that's kind of partway filled up, I think that's meant to indicate how full the inventory is on this armor, or if it was for this magazine, like how full the magazine is. That does not currently function as far as I've seen. But again, that's probably an improvement that might come in future tech previews or once this gets to the PTU. But at least in this tech preview, that was not there. So hopefully we get that, because that'll also help give a quick indication of where your stats are for different magazine levels. Because otherwise, there's not really an easy way to tell what magazine has what capacity. So hopefully they can get that addition in just to make that a little bit easier to read. And then we can talk about the right side box over here. So this side is primarily when you're looting something or you're accessing your local inventory or ship inventory. This is where you'll probably most of the time be seeing that. I think you can technically switch it. So if you wanted to have it, you could click one of these little boxes up here and switch around to another inventory, cargo container that's nearby or something like that if you wanted to show it there. But usually you're probably going to want it to be over on this side. Keep all your backpack and character equip stuff on the left side. But everything on this side is, it looks pretty similar in the tech preview. Again, some of the little icons aren't there because that functionality just isn't in the game yet for different tiers of items from crafting. Different quality levels are not listed there, but I'm sure, assuming that we get both inventory and crafting in 4.7, I would think that we'll get those little quality levels for different materials and minables and harvestables available on there, so you can see that. But it is pretty clean, pretty nice, pretty easy to use. If you're within proximity of, say, a body or a cargo container, it seemed like it was within, maybe if you're in, I don't know, 3 or 4 meters of a container, or like a storage locker on a ship, or again, like a body of some sort, you can then basically access proximity looting, so you don't have to go up to the container itself on every individual one and click to open it. And then you would get, if you had like a body and 2 containers, you can switch between those by just clicking on the little boxes up here, and then you can drag stuff over to your inventory. You can shift click it to loot it really quick. So it's a lot quicker to loot multiple things at once. Like I tested it. Like I went into the Idris and I went to the crew quarters where there's like a bunch of different storage lockers in there, and you stand by it, you get like 6 different boxes you can access all at the same time. So if there's like a big stack that someone has of different store all boxes on their ship, you can go right up to them and you can access all of them pretty quickly, and you can figure out if they have anything worth taking. So overall, it is so far a huge improvement over the current inventory that is just really dated at this point, and there's just not a lot of functionality on that one. This one has a lot more functionality. Again, this is the first tech preview. There are issues, there are bugs with this current inventory. There are some quality of life things that would be really nice to have that aren't there currently. Some different adjustments to make, like if you're on a ultra wide monitor, there's no aspect ratio modifier to bring the panels a little bit closer to the middle of the screen. Like right now they're both out to the edges, so it's a little bit I don't know, it's not the most convenient thing. So hopefully they can get like a adjustment slider for that. You can bring those in a little bit so it looks more like how that image looked, just a little bit easier to see things quickly. There's some other small changes they'll probably make in iteration they'll do, but the core of how that concept image looks is, I think, basically what we're going to be getting once this makes its way into the PU. So from my experience, seems like it's going to be a really big step forward for the game, and really going to make a lot of things less tedious, like looting less tedious and all sorts of stuff just much improved. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how y'all like it once it goes to PTU, hopefully. And I don't know, maybe a week or something. Who knows when they're going to start testing 4.7, but we will see. But let me know what you think on kind of how based off of how I described it, how we talked about the different features and stuff you can you can go about using with the new inventory. If you have any thoughts on that, make sure to let me know what you think down in the comments. If you also participated in the test, if you're evocati, and you have any thoughts to share, make sure to drop those down in the comments below as well. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like, as it really helps the channel, and get subscribed because we have some other big news coming out this week. We might have some more tech previews. We're going to be getting a roadmap update on Wednesday. We're going to be getting the new Argo salvage ship on Wednesday and a few other things. And we're going to be taking a look at those as soon as they come out. So make sure you're subscribed so you can see those video updates when they're available. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the verse.